Larry.
I'm ready to go in, Coach. Just give me a chance. I know there's a lot riding on it, but it's all psychological. Just gotta stay in a positive frame of mind.
Already know that Battlefield is back, baby. You hear me? It's back. Battlefield is back, baby. It's Battlefield. I can't wait to wingsuit surf a tornado. This game is gonna be so good.
Battlefield 2042, the brainchild of an out-of-touch lead developer with aspirations of working for Netflix and being paid to kill successful IPs for a living. It's the American dream. Who had such scary great ideas, like making a Battlefield game that removes everything people love about Battlefield. Now that's marketing. Don't get me wrong, Battlefield has been on a downward spiral since Battlefield 4. Battlefield 1 came out of the gate with a handicapped ginger woman fighting in World War I, and Battlefield 5 made women soldiers and black SS officers. Honestly, the disconnect from reality was palpable even in the early stages of Battlefield 1 and 5. Talk about a stupid naming system. Good Christ, let it go, move on. And when Battlefield 5 was released, they even had the balls to rewrite actual historical battles and events won by a group of men and made it won by a single female protagonist, all in the name of progression. To hell with facts and history. Everyone remembers the former one of the head guys at EA, Patrick Sutherland, who told fans that they were ignorant because his daughter couldn't understand why women were okay in Fortnite, but they weren't okay in World War II's front lines. And he lacked the ball power to even say to his daughter, well, honey, Fortnite isn't real. You're fighting alongside a can of tuna and Spider-Man, whereas the events of World War II were actually things that happened. Yes, I know that there were female Russian snipers, but for God's sakes, Stalin put everybody in the front lines. He was just throwing bodies at the Germans. So don't you dare give me a history lesson, you non-gender conformist. Return to your hole. But despite all of that, all of the controversy, moronicism, stupidity, and leadership not even fit to direct where mayonnaise goes on a bun at Wendy's, Battlefield still functioned like a Battlefield game at its core. There were classes, vehicles, roles, squad-based gameplay, objectives to play. There was even level design that provided you cover from vehicles since the game was based mainly on infantry. Yes, I know that there were like OP guns in BF1 and BF5, and there still are in goddamn 2042. But point being, it still felt like a Battlefield game at its core. Now, we are left with Battlefield 2042. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. In all honesty, EA always does this. They always do something dumb. It's inevitable. The sun rises, the seas rise and fall, and EA kills an IP. Remember how they changed Dead Space from a survival horror game and tanked the IP, then killed it because someone had a great idea of being a complete buffoon? Well, the point in this video is Battlefield isn't done being a goddamn meme. On February 1st, months after the game had launched, DICE had decided to try and clean using a vacuum cleaner. On Twitter, they informed the dwindling player base that they were going to add features that should have been in the game at launch, but were removed because they might hurt people's fifis. And it would come at the expense of the Season 1 pass being delayed until the summer. The game that came out with little to no content, now they're going to add features that are pretty much standard in most Battlefield games, and it only comes at the expense of delaying more content. Fantastic. They used to drip feed you content with unfinished games. Now they don't even bother, really. This is marketing at its highest level. In fact, it's perfect for Rian Johnson. Subvert expectations by being totally inept and doing everything possible to ruin what the fans want from a franchise.
It'd be funny if it weren't so pathetic.
Voice communications, VoIP, and player profiles. A tighter squad loop, including refined ping system. The ping system does need refining, but since there aren't any classes, what does it matter? The squad loop is basically everyone run around like chickens with their heads cut off. Feedback-based improvements to gunplay. Oh, now you're gonna add that. Oh, wow. Thank you. I mean, it's only people said it when the beta came out. Improve reward loop. Do we still get those stupid like notifications that take up the top of the screen? Because that was helpful. Expands tools, modes, and tweaking the player experience gain in Battlefield Portal, the only mode anyone cares about, and that's not even enough to keep anyone on. I don't even know why the hell they have EA Game Changers, when the EA Game Changers are basically neutered talking heads.
After the release of Star Wars Battlefront 1, the community thought there should have been more. And the good news is this, the developers have been listening.
Computer says nah.
They fly out to wherever the godforsaken is, and then they play the game and act like it's so great and revolutionary. Does anyone at the EA Game Changers ever stops and goes, hey, this sucks? Probably not, because the money's too good. Speaking of which...
Dear ladies and gentlemen, we come to the part of the program which is always my favorite because it means something.
This video is sponsored by Keeps, because YouTube hates me. There you were back in the day, with long, flowing locks of hair fit for the god of thunder himself. You were more rocking than Led Zeppelin 4. But much like hot guitar licks, good music, fast women, and good times, your hairline is receding. Now you look more like Tobias Funke than Thor. Did you know 2 out of 3 men will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? The best way to prevent hair loss is to do something while you still have hair left. This isn't reassuring. With Keeps, a licensed doctor will review your information online and recommend the right hair loss treatment plan for you. Then your treatment is shipped to you directly every 3 months. Keeps treatment typically takes between 4 to 6 months to start seeing results, so it's important to act fast. The sooner you start using Keeps, the more your hair can be saved. Head to keeps.com/Gundam to get 50% off your first order of Keeps for hair loss treatment. With a focus on improving these core elements of the game, we've made the big decision to move Season 1 to early summer. When Season 1 arrives, the early summer will take mark and start a year where we'll deliver 4 seasons, 4 new and ultimate editions. We know the content is coming later than expected. We're giving you all an exclusive bundle containing a specialist skin, weapon and vehicle skins, melee weapon, and player card. All to be delivered in the next update.
Not a bad deal if I say so myself. Kill me, please. I want to die.
So, to make up for the game being absolutely crap and not letting people get refunds, even though you probably should give them refunds because you guys are talking about making the game free to goddamn play, you're gonna give us a skin. Well, hell. In a segment I like to call You're Out of Touch, I'm Out of Time, Battlefield's official Twitter retweeted a very boring clip from, I guess, some Twitch streamers that were gonna have a special Battlefield game off that was competitive, which commenters pointed out how ironic that was, considering Battlefield went out of its way to take out the scoreboard in the KD so people didn't feel bad about playing poorly in the game. The irony wasn't lost. In fact, chat was so brutal, they literally locked the comment section after a few replies.
That's right. I'm Lucy May, and this Wednesday on Crown Arcade, we've got streamers Symphony, Brooke AB, and Christology gonna be duking it out on Battlefield 2042. Y'all, they're gonna be going for that high score, and it's happening while you guys sit back and relax, root on your favorite streamers in chat, and win all the prizes. So we're gonna see you on
Also on the 1st of February, after DICE told us the great roadmap that awaited us all, EA's earnings call happened, led by the other CEO that looks like a Bond villain and injects the blood of small children into his buttocks to avoid the aging process, Andrew Wilson. He had this to say: the launch of Battlefield 2042 didn't meet expectations, CEO Andrew Wilson said during the earnings call. The game, which was launched in November after the last-minute delay, you should have delayed it a year, you Phoebes, was built on the idea of scale with gigantic multiplayer battles and even featured like dynamic weather in the form of tornadoes. According to Wilson, That ambition combined with the challenges of developing a game remotely are what led to Battlefield 2042's ongoing issues. The dynamic weathering, dude, is literally one big tornado. Every map has some sort of tornado. That was the dynamic weather.
I'm dead inside.
Oh. Battlefield 2042 was always an ambitious game, and I quote, and our team pushed to innovate across many dimensions, including massive scale 128 player matches, new modes, new dynamic gameplay, and more, he explained. Developing this game with our team working from home for nearly 2 years ultimately proved to be challenging. Though the process for testing and preparation, we believe the experience is ready to be put in players' hands.
Like you lie, you never lied so damn much.
I'm like invincible while dead.
Yeah, he's got the zero spawner, what is it? Zero timer glitch. You can't respawn, you can't do anything.
I have to wait for the match, huh? Yeah, it did. I'm out. Game crashed. I'm pretty sure what happened was they knew that the game was a stinker, right? They knew it. And they're just kind of like, screw it, put it out. We got to put it out to make the Q4 earnings or something like that. We launched with strong stability. However, as more players experienced the full game, it became clear there were unanticipated performance issues that we would need to address. That's not how stability works. You can't sit there and go, we built a building and it was strong and stable, but it fell down literally the day it opened and killed like 45 people. But when we said that it was finished, it was. There's nothing innovative about this game or ambitious. It removed features, for God's sakes. And you figured you could cover up removing features by putting in 128 players? And nobody stopped to think like, well, we might lose people. Well, actually they did. That's why they had the AI bots. They knew the game was going to turn out like this. So they're like, okay, put bots in matches when there's not enough players, because they knew people would abandon this sinking ship of a game because there's no leadership. Gaming isn't about love anymore. It's about trying to make money. And now that NFTs are popular, every publisher and their mother is just foaming and chomping at the bit to sell you some piece of digital scarcity bullshit. While looking for video of Andrew Wilson doing E3 around circa 2018 to 2019, where he was telling everyone about games as service, I unfortunately stumbled across something even more dystopian. The Verge, best known for the black guy who didn't know how to build a computer, you remember that they memory hold, did an interview with Andrew Wilson where he sits here and explains a future that he believed would have came to pass in 2021, where literally your refrigerator would be linked to The Sims and your car would be linked to Need for Speed. They want to monetize every facet of your life. It's insane. Who the hell would want that? Oh, I'm driving my Tesla. I've earned some gasoline and Need for Speed.
You think about what the world looks like with a 5G network streaming latency-free gaming to every device you own. It's really easy to imagine that games would permeate our lives much the way digital music does today. From the minute I get up in the morning, everything I do has an impact on my gaming life, both discrete and indiscrete. The amount of eggs I have in my internet-enabled fridge might mean my Sims are better off in my game. The length of distance I drive in my Tesla on the way to work might mean that I get more juice in Need for Speed. If I go to soccer practice in the afternoon by virtue of internet-enabled soccer boots, that might give me juice or new cards in my FIFA product.
No. I bet when he was growing up and he went to see a doctor, the doctor must have told his mother, "Madam, I regret to inform you, your child has the cold, dead eyes of a businessman."
Oh, God. Oh, God, my baby.
The point being, EA doesn't care. They don't care. You see, EA is focused on games as service. They were like the first ones to run around with that phrase, game as a service. And the second I saw that in like 2017 or 18 with one of those soulless CEOs, I knew it was truly over. And now we're living in it. Long as they can pump out FIFA every year and they can pump out Madden, even though the dude's dead, they still tack his name on the goddamn game. They don't give a rat's ass because they're focused on digital scarcity, the biggest scam since property taxes. Well, anyway, 3 days later, literally on the 4th of February, on the 1st, they're like, we're going to add all this stuff. By the 4th, they're like, guess what? We got to delay it. We can't do it. DICE had this to say. Our next update after today's hotfix, which solves some instability issues in-game, will now roll out in early March. The Battlefield Direct community Twitter account tweeted. And there you go. The worst game since Fallout 76 is still somehow failing. All they had to do was pull a Sonic the Movie. When the beta dropped and the community told them everything that was wrong with the game, hell, Reddit even made a list of everything wrong. All EA and DICE had to do was delay it another year or two and put out the game everybody wanted. But the sheer hubris of those in charge thought they could release this unfinished game with some new trash mechanics and walk away with big sales. Well, you can eat my ass and call it a pastry. Good work, EA and DICE. You somehow managed to take something people loved and absolutely kill it again. I don't know how EA does it, but they always find a way to kill an IP. "2042 did so poorly, it makes Kathy Griffin's comedic career look like a rousing success in 2022.